All right, let's talk about one of the year's most talked about movies, A Complete Unknown. I'm going to be completely honest. Going into this movie, I really didn't know much about Bob Dylan, and I definitely didn't know a lot about his music. I have heard the name before, but I don't know what he's accomplished, what he's done, and how popular he really was and still is. After watching this movie, I did get a sense of the influence that he had on the music industry and what kind of change he kind of brought forward and the enigma that he was. And this movie really emphasizes that he was this misunderstood soul that people wanted to know more of, and kind of probe his brain and see where the music, the writing comes from. If you're going into this movie trying to get a dissection of Bob Dylan's life, you're not going to get a whole lot of that. This is more about his persona, the music that he created, the events that he went to. It's more of a highlight reel of his career, at least his early career. And that's kind of where my problem with this film kind of comes from, is that it's kind of your run-of-the-mill musical biopic. It doesn't really do anything with the medium or the story techniques to transcend the story or the events or the person. It's kind of like, here's their greatest hits, this is what they did. It doesn't really delve into the character, it doesn't do anything unique with the story, it doesn't do anything to kind of inspire you, aside from that this man was an influential person. And that's how I kind of feel about James Mangold as a director in general. I think he makes movies that are very competently made, but they don't really transcend the genre. Like, this is a fine, well put together film. It's well shot, it's well directed, the music is really good, the performances are all top notch, but it doesn't do anything to grip you. There's no drama, there's nothing that's really there for people who don't know much about the person you're seeing on screen. It's just a highlight reel of, again, his greatest hits, things that he's accomplished, but nothing where his life kind of takes a downturn or anything more so. There's no overall arc that kind of wraps together what the movie was trying to say and what his career kind of encompassed. I think Timothée Chalamet really gets lost in the role. I believed him as Bob Dylan. I think Ed Norton gives a really good, understated, quiet, very lovable performance. I think Elle Fanning is really understated in this movie, and she is really good in this movie as well. To emphasize it, I wasn't bored with this movie. I think it's a well-made movie. There's a lot of things to appreciate, especially the last 20 minutes when there is a little bit of drama and tension, and there is like this sense of something's finally happening, that something's exciting. Like, there's a lot of moments in this movie. It's just like him living his life, and you're just there for the ride. It doesn't do anything spectacular. It doesn't have to be as showy as like Elvis or Rocket Man, but it could have been a movie that could have done something a little bit more, made you a little bit more involved, especially for people that aren't in the know-how of who Bob Dylan is and what his influence was or is still to this day. But I think that comes to like the director's choices and how much of a passive director James Mangold kind of is. He's just a director that doesn't really inspire me or get me excited when he announces a movie. I just know it's going to be a solid movie and it's going to have solid performances, but it's not going to be something that's going to blow me away. So again, this movie is more for people that want to relive that 1960s folk music era. People who are familiar with Bob Dylan, people who liked his career, his music, and just kind of want to relive that time period in a sense. But if you know nothing about it, you're only really going to watch it maybe for Timothy's pretty good performance.